The book named The Ottoman Empire 1300 to 1650 Introduction. To write a general history of the Ottoman Empire is a foolhardy undertaking, and one that needs justification. A general history requires a solid foundation of books and articles that cover all aspects of the subject, and a tradition of debate that gives it a shape and a direction. These are things whose existence the historian of Western Europe can take for granted. For an Ottomanist, however, the scene is different. It is not that books and articles on the Ottoman Empire do not exist, but rather that they are fewer and their quality more variable. Furthermore, as relatively few people work in the field, research results tend to exist in isolation, with the consequence that the subject as a whole lacks coherence. It is, for the same reason, difficult to talk of debates in Ottoman history, or to perceive an overall direction in which the field is moving. Historians of the Ottoman Empire quickly find that not only have the major questions not been answered, but that more often than not they have never been asked. The sensible thing, therefore, would probably be to wait until the subject has developed before attempting to write a general synthesis. Nonetheless, there is, I believe, a justification for a general book. The history of the Ottoman Empire is important and, as recent events in the Balkans have shown, sometimes even necessary for understanding contemporary problems. It is, however, difficult for non-specialists to gain an entry into the field. Most of what is easily available is unsatisfactory, while much of the best work is too specialized or too technical for most readers. A general history can, therefore, serve to introduce the non-specialist to the field, and to provide a context which makes it possible to read the specialist works. I hope too that it might prove useful to Ottomanists, in giving the straightforward chronology of events which has hitherto been lacking. However unfashionable chronological narrative might be, it remains fundamental to historical understanding, and in providing a tentative account of the development of Ottoman institutions. My approach to the subject is narrow, and arose from a tendency among Ottoman historians no longer to refer to the Ottoman Empire, but rather to the Ottoman state and Apos. Initially, this term gained currency from its use by nationalist historians in the Republic of Turkey, who have popularized the theory that the Turks have a genius for state creation, and that the Ottoman Empire was one of a number of Turkish states established throughout history. The theory is nonsense, but it does raise a question. What kind of a state was the Ottoman Empire? I have tried to answer the question, or to begin to answer it, by describing those institutions through which the Ottoman Sultan projected his power, the dynasty and the means of recruitment to dynastic service, the palace, court and central government, provincial government, the law, the army and the fleet. There should have been a chapter on taxation, but I leave this important topic to someone who, unlike me, understands figures. I have tried to show how these institutions developed and changed over 3.5 centuries. The study ends in the mid-17th century, at the close of a period of crisis which brought to an end the empire's expansion and brought changes to the structure of its institutions. The successive crises in the half-century from about 1600 mark the end of the period in Ottoman history that it was once customary to designate as the rise of the Ottoman Empire and Apos. It seemed, for this reason, to be an appropriate place to conclude this study. It is detail and an awareness of primary sources that bring the study of history to life. A general history, however, necessarily omits details and must rely mainly on secondary materials. I have tried, nevertheless, to include some historical details, either to illustrate generalities, or to use them as evidence for assertions. I have tried, at the same time, to keep the reader in touch with the primary sources.